A giant butterfly has just spread its wings on the surface of the sun, but this is no ordinary butterfly. What astronomers are seeing is a massive butterfly-shaped hole over 23 times the size of Earth, stretching across the face of our star. And it isn't just a breathtaking cosmic image. This hole is blasting powerful solar winds straight toward Earth. Winds that could soon ripple through our technology and light up our skies in dazzling displays. The images come from NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory, which watched this strange shape emerge between this Monday and Thursday. At first glance, it looks almost like an artistic flare, a shadow on the sun in the graceful form of wings. But behind the beauty lies a remarkable and potentially disruptive process. Scientists call this dark patch a coronal hole. These holes appear when magnetic fields on the sun open up, creating gaps that allow streams of highly charged particles to escape into space. Normally, the sun's magnetic field loops back on itself, trapping hot plasma inside. But in these regions, the field lines stretch outward, letting the sun's atmosphere bleed away at hundreds of miles per second. To put it in perspective, the size of this particular hole is about 186,000 miles wide. Imagine lining up more than 23 Earths in a row. That's the distance across this dark, winged gap on the solar surface. For us here on Earth, the consequences of this cosmic opening won't be long in coming. The solar wind flowing out of this butterfly-shaped hole is racing toward our planet and is expected to arrive by Sunday. When those streams of charged particles crash into Earth's magnetic field, they stir up what scientists call geomagnetic storms. Think of Earth's magnetic field as a protective shield, deflecting most of what the sun hurls at us. But when the solar wind hits strongly enough, it rattles that shield, shakes it, and causes it to pulse with electrical currents. Those disturbances ripple down into our atmosphere, our satellites, and even our power grids. Now, the good news is that this isn't the kind of storm that will bring civilization to its knees. According to space weather forecasts, we're likely looking at a storm in the G1 to G2 range. On the official scale, G1 is weak and G2 is moderate. The strongest storms, rated G5, can cause widespread blackouts and knock out communications across continents. What's heading our way isn't that extreme, but it is enough to make a difference. Airline communications could experience some turbulence, GPS navigation might briefly misbehave, and satellites orbiting Earth could face a few technological headaches. For anyone living near the poles, however, these incoming solar winds promise something magical: auroras. Auroras are one of Earth's most spectacular natural shows. They happen when those charged solar particles collide with molecules in our atmosphere. Oxygen glows green and red, nitrogen shines in purple and blue, and the sky dances with colors like curtains of light. If you've ever stood under an aurora, you know it feels like the heavens themselves are alive. And thanks to this butterfly-shaped coronal hole, many sky watchers may soon be treated to just such a display. You might wonder, though, why do these events often seem to intensify around this time of year? There's a fascinating scientific reason. Near the equinoxes, in March and September, Earth's axis lines up in a way that makes it easier for the sun's magnetic field to interact with ours. This effect, discovered in 1973 by scientists Russell and McFerrin, shows that geomagnetic activity tends to peak during these seasonal transitions. In fact, records from decades of observations confirm that storms occur about twice as often near equinoxes as they do around solstices in June and December. With the September equinox just around the corner on the 22nd, we are in the middle of one of those windows when the sun and Earth are especially connected. All of this highlights a larger truth. Living on Earth means living in the embrace, and sometimes the line of fire, of our star. Most days we don't think about it. The sun rises, warms the planet, powers life, and then sets without incident. But sometimes, the sun reminds us of its restless nature. It sends out solar flares, coronal mass ejections, and in this case, vast winds from coronal holes. These outbursts can reach across millions of miles of space to rattle our satellites, confuse our phones, or light up our skies. I remember once when my GPS suddenly failed to connect while I was driving. It turned out there had been a solar storm that day. A small, everyday inconvenience, yes, but a clear reminder that what happens 93 million miles away on the sun can reach right into our lives. There's awe in that realization. This butterfly-shaped hole, this cosmic gateway spilling sunlight into space, connects us to the rhythms of the universe. On one hand, it's a challenge, a force that can disrupt modern life, from power grids to communication systems. On the other hand, it's a gift. The same storm that might cause a glitch in your phone is the storm that paints the sky with shimmering auroras. It's the sun's way of reminding us of its power, its beauty, and our fragile connection to the cosmos. So as the solar wind from this enormous butterfly spreads across the solar system and reaches Earth, keep an eye on the news, but also look up at the sky. If you live near higher latitudes, you might just see nature's greatest light show unfolding above you. And if your phone's GPS starts acting strangely, you'll know why. We are, after all, children of the sun, living, breathing, and marveling in its cosmic dance.